Hi, everyone. Today, I'm bringing you news that has set headlines and social media on fire. The end of the romance between actor Ken Yaman and DJ Sara'S Betrayal. And watch out, because this isn't a calm breakup. It's a sudden twist full of doubts, photos, and silence. A love born on the road and broken in the middle of a project. According to Cannes representative, Cunate Sail, the story began like a fairy tale. Venice was the first chapter, Spain the final stage. While Cannes was building his career in Italy with successful projects, the relationship seemed to be sailing smoothly until a work trip changed everything. The couple traveled to Spain for the launch of a new project. Sarah was there with him. Everything looked fine, and on top of that, Cannes was offered another production in that country. They accepted, and filming was set to start a week later. But right there, the first strange sign appeared. Sarah didn't want to stay. Sarah's unexpected decision Ken asked her to remain by his side. He told her that her presence gave him strength, but suddenly, she decided to return to Italy. That choice was the first blow. Ken started feeling that something didn't add up. His representative says it clearly. Ken confessed that something felt off. That gut feeling was the crack. And just a few days later, the bomb dropped. The photos that shattered everything Ken was filming in Spain when he received a message from Italy. Inside were photos of Sarah in a nightclub, very close to a man. Nobody knows who took those pictures or who sent them, but the impact was brutal. Ken went into a crisis, called her, and she didn't answer. According to Sail, Ken sent the photos to Sarah with a final line, "It's over." Soon after, the actor unfollowed her on social media. For his circle, that was the public confirmation of the breakup. Ken, again according to his representative, closed the chapter like this. Each of them has to move forward. Betrayal or misunderstanding. Here's where things get murkier, because Sarah still hasn't spoken. And that silence has triggered a flood of questions. Does she feel guilty? Were the photos real or taken out of context? Who is the man seen with her? There are theories for every taste. Some say he was just a friend or someone from work. Others claim the photos were sent by people close to her ex-husband, like a revenge move. And Ken, according to his representative, doesn't believe in coincidences. If he suspects something, it's because he sees real reasons. Sarah, feeling isolated in Spain, her close circle adds another layer. They say Sarah felt lonely in Spain. Ken was tied up in long shooting days, and she couldn't find her place. Italy meant stability, work, and her people. If that's true, distance and loneliness may have worn the relationship down even before the photos appeared. Maybe those images were just the last spark in a fire that had already been growing. The day Ken changed on set. There's also a strong detail from the filming team. Crew members leaked that the day everything ended, Ken was different. He kept checking his phone between takes, growing tense, his face changing. Normally he's energetic and playful, but that day he was pale, quiet, and after one scene, he went straight to his trailer without talking to anyone. It was obvious the breakup hit him like a rock. Is reconciliation possible? Officially, the representative's message is firm. The relationship is over. But the media say Ken acted from emotion, and that if it turns out the photos didn't mean what they seemed, maybe the door isn't completely closed. Everything depends on one thing, whether Sarah breaks her silence, because while one works and the other stays quiet, nobody knows the full truth. And when either of them speaks, get ready, because this could turn into another media storm. What I feel when I look at everything surrounding Demet Özdemir in this story is a strange mix of exhaustion and clarity. Exhaustion, because the topic has turned into an endless soap opera that hardly feels like it's about real people anymore. And clarity, because once I strip away the noise, I see a pretty clear pattern. Demet is at the center of the spotlight, but not necessarily because of who she is, rather because of what she triggers. And to me, that says a lot about how her image has been handled lately. It seems to me she's playing on a field where spectacle weighs more than feelings. I don't say that as a moral insult, just as an intuition. Too many scenes, too many twists, too much need to keep people hooked. Some comments talk about marketing and strategy, and I can't help thinking the same. This story keeps stretching out as if someone needs the attention never to fade. And in that sense, Demet gives me the impression that she knows perfectly how the machine works. When to stay silent, when to appear, when to let mystery do the work for her. That may be media intelligence, yes, but it also turns everything into theater. Another point I can't ignore is the feeling of a huge ego many people perceive in her. I don't know if it's ego or simply strong self-assertion, but there is a me-first energy that, in such an exposed relationship, clashes with any attempt to build something stable. Sometimes I feel Demet doesn't want to be anyone's partner in the classic sense. Not because she can't love, but because her center of gravity is elsewhere. Her career, her space, her freedom. And if that's the case, fine. But then I don't understand why keep feeding a romantic narrative with no solid base. That's where the contradiction starts for me. There's also the issue of priorities. I think a lot about what someone commented, that she could remember from time to time that she has a small child. I don't take that as an attack on Demet's motherhood. I'm not in a position to judge, but as a sign that her life has real layers that don't fit well with constant melodrama. Having a child changes rhythm, decisions, bonds, and I believe that if she's in a phase of life where she can't or doesn't want to sustain a continuous relationship, there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is pretending she can, or letting the public believe it while privately the story falls apart. That's why I understand why people are tired, not just of the media mud, but of the impression that everything revolves around someone who absorbs visibility without giving truth back. There are very harsh, even cruel comments toward her. And I don't buy that gratuitous malice. But I do recognize the root of the anger. When someone seems to use a bond with another person to reinforce their spotlight, the public senses it. And Demet, consciously or not, has become associated with that idea of being there so the camera doesn't switch off. Still, I can't see her as a simple villain. I think Demet is more complex than that. Possibly she's a woman who has learned to survive in a world where public narratives devour you if you don't control them yourself. Maybe that's why her moves seem cold. She learned to protect herself with distance, strategy, ambiguity. Sometimes the audience mistakes that armor for a lack of feelings, but I see more self-preservation than malice. The problem is that in that self-preservation, others can end up used as pieces on the board. And that's where the human part hurts. Because if the story with Can was real, even in fragments, I feel Demet didn't know, or didn't want, to protect the balance. And if it was fiction from the start, then it's even worse to have let it grow into a circus. Either way, I sense a lack of emotional responsibility toward the people involved, Can and also the public that invests their hearts in these stories. In short, my view of Demet Özdemir is uncomfortable but honest. I see someone very skilled at staying in the center, maybe too skilled. I see independence, character, ambition, but also a tendency to let the show swallow the truth. I'd like to see her outside that wheel of permanent dramatization, because I think her real talent gets buried under the foam. If she wants to be alone, let her be alone without selling romance. If she wants to love, let her do it without a script. I don't need Demet to be perfect, only to be clearer with herself and with others. Because when everything looks like strategy, the simplest thing that gets lost in the end is trust.